wildest moment of the tournament came round 2, hole 15, when Corey Ellis hit a putt, dead center, perfect putt.
Oh my
gosh,
this is ridiculous.
Now, let's rewind. What I'm about to talk about, if this happened for Worlds, would make disc golf look bad. Okay, back to current
I wasn't
moment.
even going to bring that up because I just knew it was obvious.
Back to current moment. Corey Ellis makes a putt, and
it's kind of like low side left, but it's like in the basket.
It literally falls out of the bottom of the basket. Like, if you haven't seen this,
I could not even believe what I saw because it just looks so
unnatural.
unnatural.
I don't know how to describe
I've never
it.
seen it before.
Perfect putt. It was a perfect putt that missed.
Yeah, the disc just literally fell out the bottom of the basket, like just straight through it,
through the hole,
through the hole,
through the hole of the basket.
It was brought to my attention by a Drew Gibson tweet that said, "Yo, Corey Ellis having his putter fall out the bottom of the target at a DGPT event," and then in all caps, "is the reason I've been begging for a quote unquote tour basket for years now. Hate to be the one, but some targets just aren't good enough or have aged out of being good enough to be competed on. Hashtag do better." That was from Drew.
Thanks, Drew.
I read that, and I read Corey Ellis having his putter fall at the bottom of the target, and I said, that's literally not possible. Like, I was like, that's literally cannot happen. So, like, what are we, like, was it just like a VFX weird thing?
That's kind of like the whole point of the basket.
Yeah, like, that's literally all it's designed to do. And no, it literally went in and fell out, and the man was brave enough to tap in on the exact spot it fell out. Imagine if that thing would have fallen out again. If you would have placed it and it just dropped straight through.
I think what I would have done had that happen to me is I would have just sat there and waited around until somebody told me it could count as a made putt. I would have just sat there and protested the event. I would have protested the event. I would have sat there under the basket.
To the basket.
I would have done it. I would have been like, I'm not moving on until that counts.
Here's the thing.
Because how's that
we've
fair?
discovered since that basket was broken and was then fixed but incorrectly fixed.
They left too much space.
So, like, surely it's not PDGA approved at that point, right? Like, what's the? We don't know the answer to this, so I'm asking a question that we might have to look this up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what can you do?
Discs have very specific, what you can and can't do before they're legal. Does a basket have that?
I bet you can't weld on it.
I don't know. Like, is there?
know.
Because like, it's not something a competitor would do because you're not going to bring out your welding gear.
I just like it is like one thing that has happened that like it just can't be a bad break anymore because it's actual sabotage. Like, how can that putt like not?
I mean,
count?
it still is a bad break technically. But
it's a bad break, but it was caused by something that was always there. It's not like it was a random thing. It was random,
and it's not something you can plan for.
Well, but it's something that
it's not like a tree in the fairway.
It is something that all players did putt on that basket. That's the.
When was it fixed? We don't know.
That's true. It could have been fixed mid. But what if it was broken before? It had to be worse.
What if when it was? Well, what if it wasn't though? What if it was just a little loose or something?
I'm saying like it was a bad break. But
I'd be throwing
it's a bad break
now.
that
if I were Corey Ellis,
the difference to me, I would too, because the difference to me is a bad break of you hitting a tree or you whatever still is within the PDGA rules.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This has to be outside the scope of the PDGA rules. Like, it's got to be a violation of the rules.
It's a malfunction.
It's
sorry, Double G. I think we got to replay the event.
Well, no, I think, but like Corey Ellis, if that putt sticks, ties with Joel Freeman.
That's the problem. Is it's actually relevant
because
it's only one stroke away.
Or how about this? He doesn't lose a ton of momentum because that took the wind out of his sails.
Yeah,
and he might win the whole thing. Like, it's only round 2.
Like, you're just completely baffled
for the rest of the holes.
Now, what did he finish that round? Because that. I would say the effect. Would
look that up.
Okay,
I'm gonna look up PDGA. Because
I'm telling you right now, if he didn't like birdie out after that happened, then like, because that like if that happened to you and you're like playing pretty well, and then that happens, all the momentum you ever had.
This goes back to why are there holes in the basket?
Yeah, I don't.
Trevor's question from a while ago.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Admittedly, okay, but it gave him a bogey on the hole.
Yeah, that was a putt for par.
He did admittedly go birdie par to finish.
So that's fine.
So at least I don't think it probably took his
really slow
away.
momentum down.
However,
he did lose a stroke.
He lost a stroke and he had a bogey on his card. Like, that's in his statistics now. He loses C1X putting. Like,
that is ridiculous.
That sucked. And he is like notably.
Was that Circle 2 or is that C1X?
He is like typically the guy who's in contention for best C1X percentage. Imagine if he loses and one putt's the difference, and it's the one that fell through the cage.
I'm
with you. That putt has to count. It has to count.
It will never will, but
it never will now. But like,
I would have sat there by that basket and be like, guys.
I just don't know what. Like, I don't know.
If that wasn't on coverage,
I think the way that you would have had to do that is, you're right. It would have messed with live
you
coverage and everything, but you would have had to just wait for a TD to get there and be like, look, this disc fits through this basket right here.
Let me ask you this question, guys. If you're playing a tournament, no coverage, and one of the guys on your card, that happens to him, and he's like, guys, what do you think? Are you letting it count? I would.
Of course.
I would.
I'm going to the TD over it.
This basket is
tell
broken.
TD
doesn't
I think
have
we tell
to
him it's a
know,
provisional.
bro.
No, you have to go to the TD.
Doesn't have to know.
Because something's got to be done about that hole. Because if there's no coverage, how do you know he's the only one that happened to?
No, yeah, you're right. I would definitely go to the TD.
Even with coverage, how do we know Corey Ellis is the only one that happened to?
I would fight for the guy that happened to.
That's what I'm saying. I would make him play a provisional because the bad part is rules-wise, it doesn't count. Period. It didn't stick.
Street rules.
But it didn't stick because the basket.
There's
fell no way the
the bottom of the basket.
I would basically blackmail
to-
the TD and be like, listen, if you don't let this putt count, then this whole tournament's getting investigated. It's gonna be sanctions.
I guess that's the question though. Is like what happens? They played a whole tournament with a basket that's not PDGA
Stuff like this happens in disc golf all the time.
regulated.
Like where there's probably stuff that gets there's probably guys throwing discs that aren't PDGA. Like
Sure, but this one we know.
you're right.
Like people who throw discs that are too heavy and it's not.
I want a
caught,
statement.
It's not caught.
I want a statement. Let's all agree we demand a statement.
Well, I'm just saying what like.
Do we demand a statement?
What does the tournament do? Is hole 15 ruled out for everyone?
No,
Like you're playing on a faulty basket.
I don't know.
Is that whole round ruled out for everyone?
I want a statement
What's
from the Pro Tour. I demand a statement.
Is it from the Pro Tour or is it from the PDGA?
I want to hear from the Pro Tour.
I mean, I think the solution
Both.
now.
I want a collaborative statement. They're the official tour of the PDGA, so I want a collaborative
I think the
statement.
solution now is to make more guidelines on it.
But I think there are guidelines. I think that what needs.
Did you find? Yeah, did you find any?
Well,
'Cause that would
I
be
can
really,
find like
I really want to know about
the
that.
solution.
Well, the definition of a target.
I would
is
say like
to
the solution
catch
is
it in
like
the basket.
here would be like a good solution, Connor. Like when you weld a basket and you know you're fixing it, probably like see if the disc sits in it still.
Yeah, like maybe like take it.
Maybe
maybe
try
just take
and
an
fit it
average
through.
putter and just like stick it through every hole.
Imagine welding like fixing a basket clearly to where there was a chance that could have happened and not testing it out. Like what are we doing? Was the metal still hot? like
There's
I
a
would
target
be trying
certification request form.
Or what if get this? What if they did test it when the metal was still warm and it wedged it open a little bit when they were trying to wedge a disc through it?
The maximum
That
open
is
link.
impossible.
Think about that.
That's impossible.
The maximum open
It would
link.
melt the plastic way before it bent the metal.
No. It wouldn't be touching the joints where it welded on potentially.
The maximum open.
That's
The maximum open length allowed in sides and bottom is 18 centimeter for a championship target and 21 centimeter for standard and basic targets. It is measured in any direction to minimize the chance of a disc striking inside or bottom of the basket. So what's 18 centimeters to inches?
us Americans. That'd be like
put that baby in standard.
7.7 inches.
7.08 inches.
Holy cow.
So basically,
that would have been crazy.
that would have been crazy. So 7.1 inches.
Dang it.
So there's no chance a disc can fit through.
That's diagonally?
Minimum required.
Because it went through diagonally.
It would have to be. That's like maximum.
Oh, that's
open
inside
space.
depth. Oh no, that's the gap. That's the gap right there.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the gap. Maximum open length allowed in sides and bottom. So basically, a disc can't go in through the front without folding, which is true, and can't go through the bottom. So like what the thing is though, it doesn't say like what happens when an event's played.
This is new territory. I mean, that's never happened. Like probably ever in the history of competitive disc golf has anybody had their putter fall through the bottom of the basket. It is so feasible to imagine like, oh my gosh, somebody threw a hard putt and it went through the side. Like I wouldn't have been like completely bamboozled.
Yeah.
But watching a disc just plop its little way through the bottom.
It didn't even
of the
look like a
basket.
soft putter. Like if it was a really soft putter, I'd be like, okay, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But like he putted with a normal putter and it fell out the bottom of the basket.
After,
like if you're putting with the
slowing down,
there was
or
literally
something and it falls out the bottom, okay.
But
there was
that's
literally not a
basket's
single
fault.
amount of fault on him.
No,
Not
like
a
there's nothing he
single
could have
bit.
done. There's nothing he made a putt.
It was
and it went
so
into the basket.
He put it a Hunter Thomas putt.
He waved to
actually.
the crowd because people clapped, and then he looked forward and it was on the ground, and he said,
"What happened?
What happened?"
I wish I could-
imagine being the card bait that has to be like, dude, I promise you, it fell out the bottom of the basket.
He's like, what bullcrap, dude? Like he
wish
picked
I
it up
had
and
dropped
dropped
it.
I wish I could go and like be in that moment because I can't imagine like you would think you were in some kind of dream if you watched it hit the bottom of the basket and looked up and saw it on the ground. Like you would.
I'd be
His
like-
brain had to be scrambled.
You could probably cut the
I'd be
confusion
like, dude,
in
it
the air
must
with
have
a
like
knife.
went out the back and like.
I would have walked over to the cameraman and been like, you better show me that right now.
That's not a spit out. That's a poop out.
Yeah, honestly.
Poop out. I like
the
that.
final thing, it says this target will be legal for all other PDGA sanctioned events once it's approved and the testing fee is paid. If the target fails to pass one or more of the PDGA tests, I understand a new target certification and additional testing fee will be required. It doesn't really say like once it's approved if someone modifies your basket before an event.
The approval process is whack anyways, because like for discs, they approve them before they're even made. So like they can.
Oh, but a basket you have to send
never,
to them.
Right, but then like they're never reapproved after the prototype.
I don't know.
So it's like.
But I'm just saying like they
want.
Where something's got to happen. Like you can't.
I want a statement.
You can't have people because, like, what if I just bought 18 baskets for my course that are Prodigy PDGA approved, and then I just removed the whole bottom webbing and discs just started falling out left and right.
At Beaver State, where those were
chaos.
Those were disc catchers, right?
They looked like it.
If I were Innova, I would be scrambling to like make sure that the info about the.
Yeah, if I was Innova, I'm posting
because it's not necessarily Innova's fault.
We've done an internal investigation and discovered that so and so modified the basket that is in question. We were sending them a new basket to replace. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
you got to do something.
I would definitely, because like people would be like, "Well, I'm never buying that basket." What is that?
If you haven't seen that, you got to look it up. It's chaotic.